Hey friends, how are you today? I just wanted to hop on Friday night after 1 week of being on this like homebound quarantine with kiddos home. How are you guys handling that? My goodness. I have a 4-year old and a 7-year old if you don't know me, and it's been so interesting having my kids home and trying to work and balance all of these things. But the more interesting part that has shown up for me is realizing how much I would do in a day. Like now that I can't do all the stuff that I've been doing, just slowing down, going from having a to-do list a mile long to having like, okay, let's see, I think today is a hike and going to the grocery store. So anyways, if you don't know who I am, my name's Donnell. I'm a soul and business coach and intuitive healer. And I want to talk about something that really has been coming through for me around collective exhaustion. You know, we are a society that is go, go, go. And, I was just mentioning how, hey, Ashley, how, we have these to-do lists of all these things we have to do, and we're being given this like beautiful pause right now. Because if you think about this exhaustion, not just from a point of like, oh, I'm so tired and I can't do this, but just like the way that we've been running our lives. If you think about this virus and how it's come into our reality right now, it's forcing us to slow down, it's forcing us to pause, and we're given this opportunity to move out of this like way of, how we've been living. This real like, in other societies you're going to have other ways of living, but I know in America it's like go, go, go. I get up, I take the kids to school, I go to work out, start my day, I have to go do this, and it's just like it's never ending. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what I am saying is there's another way that's being presented to us to right now. And when the universe is showing us this new way to be, we can either fight it or we can flow with it. And if I'm being really honest, I've had moments of fighting it and being like, oh my God, I just want things to go back to normal. But the reality is, you guys, we're not going to go backwards. We're meeting, like the future is coming to us, and we get this opportunity to decide like how we want to shift. And if you think about it, we were exhausting our resources on our planet. We've been kind of sometimes exhausting our values. Like I've spent more time with my daughters this week than I have in ages, and just like real quality time, like reading with them, being present with them. And sometimes we exhaust our souls, like we're just like just doing all these different things because we think it's going to make us happy, but in reality it's exhausting. So we get this opportunity right now to like pause and where we're at, and to really start to let go of distractions and separation. Because the one thing that happens if we're addicted to our distractions, when all of a sudden they're taken away, it's kind of like if you're used to drinking alcohol and all of a sudden you decide to become sober. There's all this like time, and there's all this ways that you used to spend your energy, and you're going like, what do I do now? Like, where am I going to put my time and my energy? So what if this way of how we've been living, all these ways we've been distracting ourselves, now we get this way to go within, to be quiet. And what I want you to think about is a tree. Hey Rochelle, is a like a really strong oak tree, and there's the roots to the tree. And when you think about like what are you rooted to in your life, like what's your taproot? Like if you think about like where you're getting all your main nutrients, all your nourishment, all your nurturing in your life, like what is that? And a lot of people probably up until just this time, because things are dismantling, things are shifting, they're going, oh my gosh, like I can't rely on the same things that I used to rely on. And we're going to be inventive and creative and during these times, and like coming up with all new ways to resource and find solutions. But my question being like, if you are rooted into something that is temporary or is going to shift or isn't going to be available for a while, then we're going to struggle. We're going to struggle. And the invitation during this time is to be rooted in source. Be rooted in the divine, be rooted in something that is like so much bigger than us, and to simplify and come back to our hearts and do the things that you love to do. So during this time, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, God, I mean, obviously I'm working, I'm kind of like juggling things between my daughters and my family and my sessions and all these kind of things. But I was like, oh my gosh, I get to read some of these books. I get to maybe, I was thinking, I'm like, maybe I can finally write that book that I've been talking about, wanting to write. So during this time, if you think about it, if we learn how to cut the fat out right now, so if you just think about like all the extras in your life, if you're really thinking about simplifying and connecting back into source, it's going to give you so much more opportunity to get closer to your heart and figure out what you really love to do. Like really come back to, your strength, which is what this is really about, is finding your resolve during this time. And resolve, if you think about it, is really like this energy that like gets us to the next thing. And right now we have to all find our inner resolve, like the ways that we're going to get through this challenging time, because we all have had challenging times. We've all lost things. We've all, gone through difficulty, I'm sure. But this is like a collective time of going through this. So we get this opportunity to find harmony in this and really, do things differently. And the thing that we really get to tap into, like once you like think about your oak tree and what it's rooted into, and if it is source, and maybe for some of you you're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but source, divine, whatever you want to call it, we have this opportunity to like really connect to our divine will, because that is the alchemy of a situation like this. When we're faced with fear and not knowing how things are going to unfold, we get to surrender, and surrendering to divine will, surrendering to this I am presence, and really feeling rooted and grounded in that, and finding surrender through peace and not force. And really we get to let grace lead us. And I know for me that's something that I've been thinking about a lot, is like, how can I flow during this time? How can I trust that there's a higher purpose, a higher divine orchestration to what's happening? And, I have my moments of freaking out, but overall, just really trusting that and being in the space of that. So I want to invite you guys, I just wanted to kind of pop on and say a quick hello before I go spend time with my family, and let you know I'm doing a new moon on Tuesday. If you've never done a new moon with me, I talk about the energy and the intentions of the astrology of the new moon, which is in Aries. This is like the start of the astrological year that's happening on Tuesday. We get this, even though we're in this time, we can still create a fresh start and step into some new beginnings and really see what wants to bloom and blossom in our life. So if you're interested in that, I will post that in the comments. But I hope you have a beautiful weekend, and I look forward to connecting with you all soon.